it's important to mention that the mainstream narrative, the mainstream media, they're tumbling, they're fumbling, they're falling apart. And we got this story from Yahoo News. January 6th committee lawmakers devastated by Jeff Zucker's ouster from CNN. This one's just a really amazing story because apparently CNN employees are freaking out that Jeff Zucker gets basically ousted. The new guy who's apparently he's one of the largest shareholders, and I think it's called from Liberty Media, which is the largest shareholder in Discovery, who is then taking over CNN, is a large Trump donor. So the top level CNN staff are all freaking out, and they're saying in these meetings that I've spoken with the 4 members of the January 6th committee, and they're devastated this is happening. Why are they devastated? Because we learned from Rolling Stone that at the highest levels of CNN, they were colluding with Andrew Cuomo, a Democrat governor, to help him craft his COVID narrative. They were talking about this guy being a presidential candidate at the time, and CNN was helping him. Chris Cuomo was helping his brother. And I think that's why the whole scandal erupts. Chris Cuomo helps his brother, knows Zucker's helping his brother. Then when he gets busted, Zucker says, you're fired. Chris Cuomo goes, you were doing the same thing. And he's like, too bad. And he's like, well, then pay me out my contract. And Zucker's like, I ain't paying you out your contract. And then Chris says, I will oust. I will get you fired. I will tell everybody about your relationship with this woman. And then he does. And now the whole thing's imploding and falling apart. But you know what we see from this? It's becoming clearer and clearer out in the open in the mainstream press. CNN was colluding with Democrats for favorable press coverage. We always knew it because it was obvious to anyone who paid attention, but now it's definitive and in print. We can see it. That's why they want to censor everybody else, so they can get away with stuff like that.
My conspiracy senses are tingling because I definitely do not believe that Zucker went down because of an affair that people knew about for years. Katie Couric was even talking about. I think there's something bigger at play here, and I think there is some kind of vengeance from the Cuomos. The Cuomos are a very powerful family politically, especially decades and decades ago, especially with the power that they had in New York and the political sphere a long time ago. But when it comes to CNN, obviously, people are realizing this is not journalism. This is not news. This is PR for special interests. Special interests pay them, support them, and they do their bidding no matter what. And they're willing to cross any line. They're willing to violate any kind of morality in order to help the people that pay them. And this is essentially the big business of corporate media. That's exactly what it is. It's nothing else. It's not even media. It's propaganda.
Could it be that they ousted him because of some flights he took to a certain island?
We don't know if Zucker was. I haven't seen any direct evidence about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
No. I'd not heard that he had been on those planes.
No, I haven't heard it either, but it's got to be.
No, I think this is
something more. You're right. It's something more than just an affair.
Yeah, I think it's that they were colluding with Democrats. The most trusted name in news, working with Democrats for favorable coverage is a massive, probably one of the biggest media scandals in the history of this country.
Or there could be a bigger story coming out about their direct involvement that they're trying to, of course, save face on and to, of course, not get a big backlash on, and that's why they're stepping down preemptively. There could be something even bigger coming to light soon.
But why would I know that you still have to finish reading it, but why would the January 6th committee be devastated
because
by his
CNN
ouster?
is basically their mouthpiece. They're trying to come out with this lie. They're trying to come out. They've been screaming the lie for a year about January 6th. It's quite simple. January 6th was bad. A lot of people fought their way through that front tunnel and fought with cops, fought their way in the front of the Capitol. Really, really bad riot. A lot of these people had the doors opened for them by the police. CNN wants to push the insurrection narrative because they are helping Democrats. They are now being exposed. Their own president colluding with Democrats. The woman he's having an affair with worked for Cuomo. So when they come out and they're like, it was an insurrection. And then you get these Democrats saying, we're going to file a lawsuit because anyone who spoke at that rally was involved in insurrection and is no longer eligible to be a public official. CNN is helping them do that, and they got caught. Yeah. That's why. And that's why they're devastated. They're like, oh no, our whole mission to defraud the American people.
Well, the whole narrative depends on the mouthpieces. CNN is the mouthpiece of their narrative that they've been pushing and obsessing about to the point where they have been losing 90% of their audience. They have been working so hard at doing the bidding of the special interest that they're losing everyone. And it's not a surprise why people don't watch them, why people don't trust them, because it's clearer than ever. They're not in the business of news. They're in the business of power. And I think you would agree with me, Enrique, that the January 6th panel is about power as well.
No, it's about truth. They're trying to find out what happened January 6th.
Yep.
Man, it's really crazy to watch this past month how the establishment seems to be collapsing at an exponentially increasing rate.
Yep.
And are we? Does this mean that we're going to see now? Because this would be complete Twilight Zone. We're going to see a more right-wing CNN now?
This is crazy because apparently this guy, John Malone, I think his name is, he owns this company called Liberty Media. I think, fact check me on this one. I think it's called Liberty Media. I think that's what he owns. And they're like a 25% shareholder of Discovery. Discovery is basically buying Time Warner or something like that, like Warner Media, which owns CNN. So ultimately you get this dude who apparently he's been very critical of Jeff Zucker. He said he wants CNN to be impartial. This was 3 years ago. Now he's going to have some of the biggest, the most voting power in the company that basically owns CNN. Huh. And a lot of people are speculating now it's going to go either like middle of the road or center right or something.
I doubt it. I think that with the staff that they've hired, they've already created that culture within their whole, within the whole culture within CNN. And I think that what's going to happen is you're going to see, I don't know if they're like unionized or whatever, but you're going to see like a big push if he wants to take it in that direction.
I disagree. There's the Veritas release where there's this producer guy and he's like, I remember when we would report the news. Now it's just all Trump all day. I mean, there are people who work there who are upset that they work at this job that's become this trash. In this private meeting, you had people like Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper said, if it wasn't for Zucker, the network would have become benign vanilla gruel. What's the news supposed to be? Chocolate sprinkles? No, it's supposed to be benign vanilla gruel. It's supposed to be your vegetables. You know, when I was a kid, Seinfeld and The Simpsons, that was dessert. But the vegetables was the news. It was like, this is your 5 o'clock news on Fox 32. And it was boring. And I was like, meh. And then as soon as it ended, The Simpsons came on. I was like, all right, The Simpsons. What do they think CNN is supposed to be? It's supposed to be news, but Zucker is a reality TV guy, a deeply, deeply evil man who turned politics in this country into a spectacle for profit, and he destroyed the network. There's another story from The Wrap, private text messages from former employees of CNN saying Zucker destroyed the network. And he did. And now that he's leaving, Jim Acosta, I think it was, said, we would be something like Fox News Light. Fox News Light. Does that mean centrist? Yo, because it's probably what CNN should have been.
Wasn't there a Fox News reporter that quit live on air?
Fox News reporter? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you've had her on the show
Ivory
before.
Hecker.
Ivory Heckler, yeah.
Oh, but yeah, but that was Fox
Local.
Yeah.
That was stunning. I hope more people do what she did.
That was brave.
Yeah.
Because they told her that they didn't want to report stories because certain racial groups didn't care about these stories. I think she wanted to report on Bitcoin. Was that what it was?
I don't remember the exact details of it.
I think it was something like that, and they were like, this particular racial group doesn't care about that, so we're not going to report it. And it's like, well, to be honest, I understand the point they're making. We run a business, but at the same time, if your news is predicated upon what you can sell to the masses, you become CNN, and that is a problem. It's a fine line, but we used to have a news, or maybe we never did. Maybe we never did.
Yeah, this independent journalism, I think, is the way it's supposed to be. What we got now, like We Are Change and Timcast and stuff.
Well, that's the future. That's less people are tuning into mainstream media. More people are tuning into podcasts, alternative media. And I think it's just going to get worse. And I think these networks are gonna suffer.
The problem is with independent media is how do you verify they're not a crackpot? That's challenging. You kind of got to peer review them.
No. You just have to only watch the shows where people speak a certain way. Like they talk like this. If they speak like this, and when referring to what happened in Liechtenstein, that's how you know they're credible.
And they have suits and they have paychecks from Bill Gates. Then they're 100% credible and absolutely trustworthy.
But if they talk like this, guys, really fast, like, okay, gang, like, we got to talk about what's going on.
Too risky.
No, yeah, you can't trust them.
I'll enjoy the anarchy.
But but Ian, to answer your question, what independent media does, what Joe Rogan does, especially with his long format, 3-hour long conversations, which from any kind of business perspective, if you would have asked a media guy, like, is this going to be successful? They would say no. But why is it successful is because you're taken along a journey of experiencing and exploring and finding things out, not through an agenda or a narrative or something that has a final plan of what you think it is. It's an exploration. So when we have an independent media, we have sharing of data, of information and conversations and debates that you would never have on the corporate media that question everything in our reality. And that's why it's so much better and stronger than the corporate media trash that they feed and shove down our throats.
You see, a while back, people started complaining that the news was turning everything into sound bites. That instead of talking about politics, it was just a 5-minute clip on the TV. Then Twitter comes along, and there's this video Glenn Greenwald shared from 2009 where he said, I think it's a problem that Twitter has this character limit, and it's going to keep, reducing our conversations and making it worse off. Now, what's happened? We've punched that rubber, we stretched that rubber band to the point where it can't go any further, and it snapped back. And now we've gone from the 2-minute soundbite to the 3-hour long form podcast conversation as the media choice for so many people. So CNN, they're old guard. They're, Fox News, they're like, Tim, would you like to come on the show? We'll give you 2 minutes. And I'm like, nah, no thanks, man.
Dude, that's the worst.
Jordan Peterson was 4.5 hours on Rogan this last one, and it was totally fine. I only saw the first 40 minutes so far.
I was driving.
It was already
to
going.
Florida. I watched all of it, and it was amazing.
Let's
very thought-provoking.
So who's to say how long is it going to go? It might not even matter at this point. Like, length maybe isn't the problem.
It's authenticity and an ability to flesh out ideas so people can wrap their minds around it instead of a guy coming out and being like, Antifa is bad and vote Trump. Bye. Like, hold on, let's slow down and say, you've got people then saying, yeah, but Trump is bad. No, we get that. Like, when you have long form conversations, you can say things like, it was bad that Trump bombed Syria, but it was good that Trump tried to get our troops out of Afghanistan and set the deadline for the withdrawal, and then Joe Biden flubbed it. You can get into all the details around it and the nuance.
The truth is nuanced, right? It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray. There's a lot of exploration. There's a lot of things that you have to come to an understanding of by patiently hearing both sides of the story. The only way you could do that is through, of course, long formats instead of 2-minute segments.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.